Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Planning has always been my way of working out problems and solving the day-to-day issues in my life. Join me as I experiment on how to best tackle projects, figure out how to stick with habit tracking, and celebrate the wins, both big and small. So grab a cup or a glass of whatevs and let's get on with the video. Hey planner friends, we are at the end of 2023 and I thought I would go through everything I used for the year and everything I'm not going to be using for 2024, and I'm sure there's a better way to word that, but man, I can't breathe here. I am having a lot of asthma, it's snowing, and anytime it gets colder, it just, acts up. So here it is. My stack for 2023 for the most part, and I thought we'd go from smallest to biggest and then to what I'm currently using up to today. So the smallest planner is a Moleskine planner. This is a weekly planner. First time I've ever used this in this size. This is a pocket planner. You might remember this from last year. I used this in A5 size, and Moleskine is more like of a A5 slim. It can actually fit in a, what's it called? A wide traveler's notebook. So I thought I would size down because I did like it. I just didn't use it as much. That was the case here too, as well. It's nothing about the paper. I just didn't gravitate towards smaller sizes of planners this year, which is weird because usually at some point in the year I size down, and I thought this would be the perfect planner for that. It fits in a film notes traveler's notebook, and that just didn't happen. I also used the front pages differently. So these are monthlies, and if you've seen my video or you look this planner up, you know the monthlies are these tiny little boxes, and I hated that. I went ahead and covered this with a lined Moleskine paper, and this took some time and some effort. I drew this shit out, you guys. Normally I don't do stuff like that. I put stickers down and then I used a stencil so that my handwriting wouldn't look terrible, because it is. And this took me a lot of time. I didn't even use the monthlies like that in here, and that's kind of sad. So it seems that the more I end up drawing things out and working on them, the less I end up using them. For the weeklies that are already drawn out, pretty simple. I broke the weekly in half with a line. Again, it looks like this. And I started out trying to plan in here, see if I wanted to keep this as my everyday carry. Didn't really work out, so I started to work on like one thing I wanted to focus on for that week, and that was kind of cool, having a focus. Went back to planning after a while when I lost focus. And I just really didn't use this past April. I know, and it's not really the planner's fault. I would recommend this to other people. I've seen people use these in their film notes, traveler's notebooks. It's just not a size that worked for me in 2023. But I might pick this up again later on in my planning, just because I always give something a second chance. Sometimes it's me and usually not the planner. I went to Denver at the end of this month, and so I came back with a cold. I'm still trying to get over it. Hopefully you can understand all my words, but we're going to go ahead and press through because this is the time I have to film this video. So moving on to another new planner for me in 2023. This is the Hobonichi Weeks Mega. I've never had a Mega before. I don't know why I felt like, yeah, a Mega is a thing that you need to do, Sylvia, because I never finish the pages in the back, and this is having, what, double the pages than the standard, we're going to call it the standard Hobonichi Weeks. The monthly is beautiful. It works perfectly. I wish I had an insert of just these monthlies because they're fantastic, but I fell off on the weeklies hard. I found that I updated the monthlies more than anything else. I did throw a sticker down, but that wasn't a lot of work, so it's nothing to set this up for me personally. I added some color in October, which I really liked, and then I had my categories down here at the bottom, and that was fun, but I just couldn't seem to want to open this planner. It was a struggle from the beginning, and I think this is one of those FOMO planners where all of your planner friends are going to have one, and you're going to see a lot of planner videos from people having one of these guys, and then it makes you want to have one and wish that you had gotten one for the year. And I'm not going to be buying one in 2024, so this is not going to be part of my planner lineup, and that's the first time in years. So we'll see. I end up buying one somewhere in mid-February or March. I could totally see that happening. Yeah, I even tried to just like write down a recipe in here at some point, pen testing. Here's what happens. Like, I'll get a really good groove in a planner like this, And then I think to myself, well, Sylvia, you're doing great. How about we just go ahead and kind of put down some decorations and separate your sections out ahead of time for the full month. And then I tend, again, the more I put work and effort into setting up my planner, the less I tend to use it. And that is just frustrating as shit. You'll see that after I didn't set up anything, I started using it again. So it is what it is. After April, I stopped using this. Yeah, and it's not the planner's fault. Just like this guy here. There's nothing wrong with the planner or the paper or whatever. I do complain about the paper a lot because I miss my gel pens and it's really hard to use that on this type of paper. But it was just, I didn't want this size. For some reason in 2023, I was gravitating towards larger planners, larger notebooks. So poor little guy didn't get used all that much, but I feel like I still got my money worth out of both of those planners. Okay, and so now we come to a notebook. This is a Moleskine notebook. It is a grid notebook, and I showed this at some point, if not on this channel, then on my Writerly channel. I'm trying to update more on that channel. I was trying to do more of a grid for my writing to try to keep track of things, and I found that this was ridiculous. I know a lot of people do this, and good for those people. I appreciate if it helps you to do it out on the page. This is just utter nonsense in my opinion, and I just prefer to do this in like an Excel or a Google Docs or Google Sheets. It just works better that way. I can edit it month to month, week to week. To draw this out every week or even every month is just too tedious in my opinion, and this is lazy planning. So this was like the last time I did this, and I moved on and I went digital. I know. And I'm never going back. So this notebook, sometimes if I have a thought that I want to work out on the page, I write it in here, but it's really not being utilized anymore. This is part of planning because this is kind of where I brainstorm things, and I like to see things on an entire spread, especially when I'm doing like quarterly goals and stuff. And then once again, I have done videos on this channel for how I do that online, and it just works best for me. Then we have my bullet journal, because I always keep one every year, and this one was from July to October. So when I fell off of all of the other, planners that are already pre-printed for me, I went to this guy. And I tried some different things. I was like, okay, Sylvia, let's go to, other planners on the YouTube and try out some of their styles. And I mentioned that, where I was trying out other planner styles in here and seeing how they use their bullet journals, and they were cool. I got some interesting ideas, but I started to fall off pretty hard. It wasn't fun. I started to keep, more stuff in here for videos and writing down little tidbits here and there for books that I was reading, doing some more vocab in here, and then I fell off. And then I thought, well, some planner people, they take stuff and they print them out and they stick them in here, and that looks really nice and neat, and it was cool, but I didn't keep up with it. And once again, sometimes these things would shift in the mid-month because this is stuff for my writing and for videos, and I couldn't edit this without having to write on it, so I just kept it all digitally. It made more sense to me, and I know that people probably are not excited to hear that I like digitally planning because they're here for more, analoging, but it is what it is. At some point I thought, well, maybe if I pack things in and make things look a little bit more full, I'll like that more. And it just looked really messy, but it did work. And I did that for a while. And I don't know, I wasn't happy. I didn't want to be in this anymore, and I was tired. Even though it didn't have a ton of structure, I just wanted something that was predated, and the stuff I already had wasn't working because, my planners were too small. So I didn't even spend any time in here in October, maybe a couple of days, and that was it. And then I moved on. Then I moved on to a traveler's notebook, and I bought a 3-month set of these DIYfish inserts. These are the V6 monthly fold out plus V circle. And these are the week on 2 pages. These are life mapping inserts, and I loved them. I loved them. It was just enough planning for me. What I don't like about them is, when you go to store them, if you do a whole year, you're going to have 12 of these. You can't flip through all of them at the same time. You have to keep them individually. I never used this up here, and at some point I decided, yeah, I'm not going to buy these for 2024 because the whole selling point for me was this circle thing here where you can go ahead and color in, like you can label this whole section here like videos, and then you color it in to show how many days of that week you have achieved that task, and I just never used it. Never utilized it at all. And then things like this would happen where there's only 2 days in this week and I was like, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to go into the next insert. And then November happened and I really loved this front part where you had the weeklies here. And I rewrote the week because when this is folded, you can't really see it. And I didn't like taking this out of my traveler's notebook because I usually had this inside of another insert because it's so thin you can do that. And it was cool and it was fun. But I thought, man, I'd rather just have the traveler's notebook weekly because that is kind of an Avec version because you have 6 months in one and then 6 months in another. So that's what I went ahead and bought to replace this for 2024. But I love that at any time I want and anytime you want, you can go ahead and buy these from DIYfish either on Etsy or on her regular website, and you can just download them and print them out. So here, I didn't even use them at the beginning of December. And it was hard for me to plan in December. I was just trying to push to get a lot of writing goals done, which I did fantastic on. But the shitty thing about 2023 for me is I use my planners for 2 things, usually one to plan and the other to record. And I just did a really bad job of recording everything for 2023, like my day, my life, my writing, and I really missed that when I looked back at all of my 2023. Sometimes it's in a bunch of different places because I'm a planner hopper, but I always have it. And for 2023, I just didn't really do that. And I think it's because I didn't have an actual writing project that I was actually physically, you know, writing and typing. Excuse me, I was just editing for all of 2023, and now I'm going to be querying for most of the beginning of 2024. So yeah, it's usually like when I'm writing, I have ideas and thoughts about what I'm writing, and I write down, this is how I felt today, and I was so excited about this. I didn't have that because I was just doing, you know, developmental edits and line edits. So, you know, there's that. Hey guys, this is Editing Sylvia. So I technically forgot about the 3 planners that are technically 2024 planners, but because they start early, I have incorporated them into my planning system at the end of 2023. So I think that's important to mention. The first one, I have a whole video on how to use this as a monthly planner, as a monthly weekly planner, and as a monthly daily planner, and for all 3. So I have videos on that. I will link them down below. This is the Leuchtturm 1917 B6 Plus monthly with notebook planner, and then I also have a B6 Plus Leuchtturm 1917 just lined notebook in here to use as a companion notebook, and I actually haven't started it yet. I wanted to wait until I incorporated all of my planners for 2024 to see if this is something I needed to use right now. So over here we have this starting in November of 2023, so 2 months before the new year. I love this planner. I love how they have the slightly cream colored pages. Sometimes I don't love that in the Hobonichi weeks and I wish that they were white, but this is really nice on the eyes and I enjoy Leuchtturm paper. And then of course you have the daily pages in the back, and I have a video talking about how I set this up for November of 2023. So this is another planner. Again, I got to start early, so I think it's important to mention it. Then we have my traveler's notebook, and I have an insert in here, which is the 2024 traveler's notebook weekly with Memo. And this is what's going to take place of that DIYfish inserts that I bought. I just think that this is really nice to have only 2 for the month. So this has, or 2 for the year, excuse me. This has 6 months in one book and then 6 months in the other starting in July. And I'm just going to be using this to mark down how many pages I read for that day, what book I am currently reading, how many days it took me to read it, and like when I start a book and when I end it. Of course, over here I get to put a little bit of notes, and that's pretty much all I really need because it helps trigger me when somebody asks something, and plus I can just take what I wrote in here for the week and go ahead and put it into an essay about that novel for that week or the month. Just because I do have book clubs and sometimes I need to remember certain things. Other books, it's like, cool, I read it. I don't think I need to take anything from this other than a few quotes or whatever. It's not something I need to memorize. In here, this is the Nolty 6501, and so this is a full-on planner that has months that look like this. It's gorgeous. And then you have the weekly setup in a vertical layout, and you have the square grid. This is teeny tiny, but I've never had this planner before this year, and I wanted to give it a go. So this actually starts in December. I also should mention that this starts two weeks before the new year. So here's how the monthly looks, and I have a setup on this. I just love it. I just think it's really nice and big, and I don't know, it's just like the perfect size. Now this can actually fit into my standard Foxy Fix. I have a video talking about this, I believe, and I will, you know, talk more about this when I show you my full-on setup for January of 2024. But this can also fit into a wide size traveler's notebook because it is what I would consider an A5 slim. Now the weeklies look kind of like this, and I actually went to Denver so I didn't have a lot of planning happening here and here. So I just, you know, again, I allowed myself to use this month before the new year as free reign to do whatever I wanted before I decided what I wanted to do in here. And I think what I want to do in here is go ahead and use this as my tasks. So like anything I'm cleaning, any appointments, all of that should go in here as my main planner. And those are all of the planners. So let me know down below before we end this video, because I did forget this section, what you are taking into 2024. Are there any planners that you are going to be using again in 2024? Are there any planners that you DNF'd, did not finish, or did not use? And anything new that you've never tried before? So let me know down below. Bye. So this is everything that I used in 2023. The planner stack's not too bad. I mean, I feel like this is, you know, pretty low for me, which makes me happy. Sorry, the lighting's changing. Again, it's snowing here in my area of Colorado. But this is everything for 2023, and I'm only incorporating one more planner for 2024. So that will probably be my next video. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.